If you knew what your true yes was and what your true no was in all areas of your life, would you be able to choose faster and easier? What futures would those choices create? Everyone is capable of connecting to their bodies in a way to have more exuberant and joyful living now and in the future. Now, here is your host of Choosing a Different Future with Siris.
Hi everyone, I'm Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today's show is about when their behavior doesn't match what you know. And it's going to go in so many different places. I can already feel it. Can you feel it? There's so many places where we can take this. Let's see. I'm going to be addressing questions as well that were sent in comments. So thank you for sending in questions and comments. Thank you for everyone that's been listening, all the new people that are finding the show, and for sharing the show with your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues. I am a family and child coach, for those of you that are new to the show, and a speech language pathologist, a therapeutic energy worker. And I love using my gifts to connect you, each and every one of you, with your bodies even more. I connect with my body, and then I am able to perceive what's going on and what you're able to choose, what you're willing to choose right now, what's uniquely possible to you. And for each of us, it's really different. And then most importantly, for you to know that for yourself, for you to have clarity and ease and getting these messages from your body, partnering with your body to have amazing businesses and relationships and lives and better health. So I'm super, super excited about our discussion today. We have some amazing events coming up as well. I want to make sure that you know about. We're going to continue to rock out more relationship calls. We just finished Exuberantly You with relationships, and we got such a great response from that 8-part series that we're looking to make the replays. They're still going to be available. And there are some whispers of creating a group, a Facebook group, where people can tap into there and get the recordings even more, continue to get new content. So I'm really looking forward to creating that. But until then, let's munch on some of the content of the series that just got done. People are still getting through it because they've been joining in at different times of the series along the way. And you can find the information for Exuberantly You with relationships by searching for it, and also by going to empoweringlightlanguage.com/exuberantlyu. And we have some awakening classes for you to play around with. The awakening class teaches you how to give and receive an energetic body process I created, where you awaken different energies within your body to invite you to have more living, to invite you to get more connected with your body so that you can build your confidence, you can communicate better, you can show up as more of yourself, and you can also let go of anything and anyone, any stuff that you've lost in your body that has stopped you from actually living your way. And we have Opening the Doors to Greater Living. That's the theme for the Awakening class in September 23rd, live streamed online and also live in person in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have Coming Home to You Saturday, November 5th, from in person in Charlotte and live streamed online. From anywhere in the world, as long as you got Wi-Fi, you're good to go. And we have Setting the Tone for the Year, starting Saturday, January 28th. And that will be, the location for in-person is to be decided. And we're looking for people to host that class. So if you can gather a group of people, and this theme of being a more awakened to living is something that resonates with you, reach out to me, reach out to us at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Thank you everyone for the awesome comments and just really beautiful acknowledgments from our last call. The last episode was on, is polyamory for you? And I found it so funny because it's not just people that are finding me for the first time that are like, oh, she's polyamorous. She's been practicing poly since as long as she can remember, but for sure publicly since 2014. But this is something that I was asking for since I was in high school. Like I mentioned in our episode, there are people who have known me for years and are like, oh, I had no idea you were poly. And it's one of those things that, you know, I don't hide it, but I also don't like wave it around all the time. If it comes up as to my relationship dynamics, I bring it up. And if it doesn't, I don't bring it up. And so it's one of those things that somebody made a comment on about how, oh, I'm so much more interesting and unexpected than they were realizing because of this aspect of my life. And also they were like, well, I guess you have so many different things going on, and I still am learning all these different things. So this is another thing to add. And they are someone who is pansexual. And so this resonated with them because they were like, I'm continually coming out as pansexual to people, even people that have known me for years. And so I suspect you also have this for being poly, where you're constantly coming out to people, even those that have known you for a while. And I was like, yes, to answer your question, yes. So thank you for watching the episode and sending in that comment. I also loved all the questions and comments of people who are new to poly, who really appreciated the questions that were guiding them to take as they were taking their first steps and exploring this new world, and really getting in touch with their bodies and with what they really would like to have in relationships as they're dating new people and checking in with their current partners and exploring, you know, just what is exactly what I really, really, really would like as my life, and how do my relationships contribute to that, and how can they contribute to that moving forward. So thank you to all the new people on all the levels. It's so cool. I'm so grateful that this was contributing to you. It is a topic that I was hesitant to bring up for many years. Not now, I'm very comfortable talking about it, but for many years I was hesitant to bring it up because I was worried that people were going to take the kids away from me that I worked with. There's a lot of repression around sex and sexuality, especially in the United States. There's still these conversations that get avoided or brushed under the rug. And I've learned that the schools and the colleagues and the parents and families that respect me and know that I can bring that up and in a way that's appropriate to the kids, if it's even something that needs to be brought up at all. And for those to know that this is something that's an option for them, and that I'm open to talking about all these different things while really seeing what their family is requiring and acknowledging their unique gifts and capacities and helping all of the members of their family move forward. The poly thing is just one of many aspects of me, just like it's one of many aspects of them. This one thing that might be going on in their family, like an autism diagnosis or attentional difficulties, or, oh, they're dealing with divorce and moving and relocation, all these different things. All of these things are just one aspect of us. And so thank you for getting that, for those of you that get that. And then there was one other comment. There are some people that are monogamous that were really surprised by how much they benefited from the discussion on, is polyamory for you? Even though they have no interest in polyamory, the part of the episode when we were talking about cheating and how cheating is just information, a lot of people mentioned that they really appreciated that, and that it helped them heal old hurts and wounds by looking at the questions that we talked about in that part of the episode. So thank you to everybody. I love getting the comments, so keep it coming. It really helps me make sure that I'm creating content that is worthwhile to you and that's interesting to you, and that also helps me find other special guests that I can invite on, so you get other perspectives, and I can connect you to other people as well, which I love to do. And we're going to have some more guests soon as well. So today's show is, when their behavior, does it match what you know? Yes. I'm going to read the description for the show a little bit, so buckle in. All right. What if we moved away from the polarities of good and bad, or positive and negative behavior, and instead received it all as information, like what we talked about with cheating in the last episode on polyamory? And polyamory, again, is not a cure for cheating, and it doesn't actually mean cheating, and we talked about that as well. So back to today's episode, when we look at what behavior we desire to see and what we don't, and we're willing to ask questions, think outside of the box, and use cutting edge psychology to outcreate what shows up, we can have an easier time with, and these are a couple examples, tantrums, and yes, adults have them too, confrontation and conflict, parenting, hormonal changes, breakups, long distance relationships, competition, and more. So if you have questions and you're listening live today, pop those questions into our live audience forum and I will address them and bring them up. I'll also address the questions y'all sent into me. So thank you again for sending them in. It's all information. It's all information from our bodies and from other people's bodies. So let's choose to tap into our bodies and learn how we can partner with them to have futures which include more clarity and ease with creating what we know is possible. And so we're going to be getting into that today. I'm really interested in where this is going to go, y'all. Every time we have these conversations, it just blows my mind where we go. It's never what I expect and plan, and yet it's always exactly where we need to go. And I love that. So we will be connecting with our bodies, the messages our bodies are telling us, and using it so that we can get clear on what to do when we're aware of something and what we're seeing or hearing doesn't match what we perceive. Okay. How many of you that's going on a lot, a little, a lot, probably a lot, because we're often like, that person said this, but wait, what? Wait, they're doing this, but that doesn't match what they said that they were going to do before, or what I know that they could do with their body. So what's going on here? Yeah. So let's start with a quick initial exercise. I love doing this with all of my clients. This is going to be really powerful. The purpose of this exercise is to get you really in touch with your body so you can know this information and have it for anything and everything you'd like to have more clarity and ease with that is about your body. And what isn't about your body? Your eating is about your body, your relationships about your body, your money and business is about your body. Your body is the vehicle that's navigating this whole space everywhere that you are. So we're going to get a clear yes and a clear no with our bodies. And for some of us, it might be easier to do this standing up, making sure your knees are soft and not locked. Okay. And take some deep breaths. And it's as simple as having your eyes closed or a soft gaze, like a drishti, if you're familiar with yoga. And asking, body, what's our yes today? Body, what's our yes at present? And seeing what movement, what sensation, what sound, smell, knowing comes up for you. Make note of that. And then asking, body, what's our no today? Body, what's our no at present? And seeing what movement, what sensation, what knowing shows up with that. Let's do that one more time. So everything that brought up, let's let it all go. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. Delete, delete, delete. Okay, and let's get out of our heads. Give your body a couple of squeezes to make sure you're with your body and not in your head, because that makes it harder to actually get your yes or no with your body. I know they didn't teach us this in school. Body, what's our yes today? What's our yes at present? Body, what's our no today? What's our no at present? Okay, and you may notice something a little bit different. It'll probably be a lot stronger the second time around, and it gets stronger and clearer with practice. So do that a couple more times. It's time for our first break of the show. When we return, we will continue to discuss how you can tap into your body and its messages so that you can use that as information and a guide for when you're aware of something and what's showing up doesn't quite match. You are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, myself, Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we will continue to discuss when their behavior doesn't match what we know, what you know. We will be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com. or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is when their behavior doesn't match what you know. So before we went on break, we were discussing how to get a clear yes and a clear no from our bodies. So in order for us to have this clear information as to what's true for us and what's true with what's going on versus being at the whim of the behaviors and the actions that we're seeing, being at the whim of the words that we're being told, we can let this guide us so that we know if someone's telling us the truth or lying, if someone's telling themselves the truth or lying to themselves. Because sometimes when people are lying, it's not because they're actually malicious and they have a unfortunate intent with you. They don't have a malicious intent with you. Maybe it's just because they don't even know what's true for them yet themselves. And so they can't tell you what's true because they don't even know it yet. They've been so dynamically lying to themselves that they haven't discovered it. And yet it's possible for you to know it even before they do. And it's possible for you to know it for yourself if you would like. So what showed up when you practiced that exercise? We're going to do it one more time together, and then we're going to practice this next thing that's going to be really important. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that you join us in the chat room, that you know that you can join us by going to the Inspired Choices Network .com, or you can join us using the ICN, the Inspired Choices Network app. We are on 450 TV and podcast platforms now. Super exciting. So you can find us on multiple different platforms, probably any that you've ever considered so far, and we're adding new ones on all the time. And go ahead and explore the different podcasts that are on this network. There's a lot of amazing hosts. I'm still learning all of them myself and getting to know them. And each of them just keep blowing me away. So have fun with that. Now, when we were looking at your yes and no with your body, we're going to do that one more time. And then we're going to go into how you can have it with other people. So if you go ahead and soften, make sure you're breathing continually your way. Give your body a couple hugs and squeezes. For some people, it's actually squeezing their head. I learned this from a lot of occupational therapists I worked with the kiddos that I work with that have sensory difficulties, autism, ADD, ADHD. The different joints or really where you want to squeeze. So there's the head, there's the shoulders, there's the hip bones, squeezing that. That's why hugs feel so good, because it connects all of those different places and gives that reset to the nervous system and brings you to the present with your body. And then go ahead and ask your body, what is our yes today? And it may be a movement forward, a movement back, a lightening, a stretching, a clarity, a sound. I'm not sure what it's going to be for you. It's something different for each person, and it can change day to day. So doing this first thing in the morning is a really great thing, because it can help guide you for everything you're going to do in the day, from what you're going to eat, who to talk to, what to do for your business. Is it time to have that conversation or not? All of those things. And then go ahead and ask, body, what is our no today? And it may be a heaviness, a pulling down, a tightening. It might be a certain smell, a different sound, a stillness. Stillness and nothing can also be the yes or the no. So just a couple examples. Go ahead and take a moment, like 15 seconds, and email me at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com with the subject line, yes and no. And tell me what yes and no you got from your body today. I'm really curious, because I'm always hearing new examples, and I love that. So I can actually give those as examples in my classes and with clients, because a lot of people feel like it should be like others and what they get from their body. And we're all different. Our bodies are different. And so we would get a same yes and no as everyone else. For what reason? We're different. Let's honor that. And so now let's say you have a partner that you'd like to get a yes and no with, so that you could know what's going to work within your relationship. Or you have kids and you'd like to make sure that you're including the energy, what's going to be working as a yes and be true for your whole family. So you can say, okay, what is our yes today? And what is our no today? And this is really key. I use this in meetings with my team. Okay, what is our team's yes today? What is our team's no today? Because I'm grateful and very fortunate to work with team members that they have their individual yeses and nos. They do this pretty regularly. I encourage them to do this. This is something we talk very openly about, getting messages from our body. And if we can do it as a team, we can go right to boom, what's going to work for our business together? What's going to work for this project, and actually get that yes and no for the project, for the class we're creating. And it's very clear and fast, because we've been doing it for years now. So we've built up our muscle with this. Okay. And so as you're doing this more and more, you will have this clear and faster as well for you, and be able to use this more effectively. So I've had parents use this for their kids, for, picking schools, for, okay, should they join this particular extracurricular activity or not? What's going to work for the whole family? So if I take so-and-so to basketball and have them join basketball, it's not just about having yes for that child. It's about, okay, how will that impact the whole family? And so if a child is saying, oh, I don't want to take violin lessons anymore, which I did that as a kid. I was like, I don't want to do it. And my parents were like, oh, but we know you really like it. But we know it's really contributing to you having greater confidence and connecting and making friends. What's going on here? This behavior and your request isn't matching what we know. Well, if they had known this tool back then, they could have asked, okay, is it true that doesn't want to do violin anymore? It wasn't actually true. I was using that to rebel. I was using that to make a point. I was using that to show my frustration that my parents were getting separated, and I was leading to divorce, and they weren't communicating very well, and it was a lot of conflict between them. And so I was basically throwing a tantrum by saying I didn't want violin lessons anymore. Fast forward to years later as an adult, even as a young adult and as an adult now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss playing violin. And I can choose to pick that up at any moment, and I can ask my body, hey, body, what would it be like if we chose to play violin again? Is that a yes? Meaning, is that going to work for us right now? Or is that a no, and that's not going to work for us right now? And I check it periodically, and I have a special place in my heart for violin. But right now it's a no for me to actually take lessons again and do it. But it's a yes for me to listen to it. Okay. So these are the things that can happen and that we can ask questions about. Some other examples that I've heard is, and I've used this with, is I work with a lot of couples and thruples in my relationship coaching. And so when there's a lot of conflict, when there's a lot of reactivity, a lot of arguing, you sometimes find people, and this applies to teenagers too, right? You sometimes find people digging in their heels and making it all about their perspective, their point of view, what they want. And that is important, to include yourself in your relationships. You include yourself in your family. And if you're working in a team in your business, your perspective is valuable. And it's not all about you, especially if you want the business, the relationship, and the family to thrive. So getting this yes and no with everybody that's involved is really, really important, so that you're actually honoring everyone and you making sure that both their awareness, their input, their values, what they desire is taken under consideration. So let's say you're about to go into a meeting, and not only could you get your yes and no for the team, what is my team's yes today? What is my team's no today? You can also say, all right, what is this first project's yes? I'm nodding now. He sees it's even more explicit. What is this second project's yes? And that's a different yes. So this first one was nodding. The second one was like turning to the left side. Okay, what is this third project's yes? Okay, and that one's lifting upward for me. I'm actually thinking about different projects that I have as I'm asking this, so you can see, if you're just watching this on a TV and on the video formats, you can see that I'm getting a different one, that my body's moving in a different way. You're seeing the physical aspect of it. And there's also times when you may perceive it as an energetic thing, as a sound that no one else needs to know this. You know, I have a friend that their nose itches for yes and for no. So their nose goes like this for yes, and it goes like just turned for no, like they smell something bad. Like, that's not gonna work. All right. So, and no one needs to know what you're smelling, what you're aware of. They can be like, oh yeah, that was just something, a little tickle. Like, you just play it off. It's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be something that you say something about. So this is the key thing with the yeses and nos, and with when someone's behavior doesn't match what you know. Just because you're aware of something doesn't mean you have to say or do anything about it. Okay? Their behavior doesn't match what I know right now. Interesting. Are you going to accuse them of lying? Is that going to create more? Yes or no? Are you going to tell them that you know that they're lying to themselves or to you right now? What's that going to create? So see if that's a yes or no. Yes, tell them. No, tell them. Which one actually matches what's going to create more for you and for your body? Because your body is going to get the brunt of that impact, that input to them, if you choose against what you know. So this is first and foremost for you to know what's true and what's a lie within yourself, what you're telling yourself, and within interactions that you're having with other people, so that you can have clarity and ease as to what next steps to take. And we're going to talk about that as well moving forward. So it's time for our next break. When we return, we are going to talk about when their behavior doesn't match what you know. You are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, myself, Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. We will be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is when their behavior doesn't match what you know. So before we went on break, we were discussing how to get a yes and no with our bodies and how to get our yeses and nos within our relationships, for our whole relationship, for our businesses, for our teams, for our families, and how it's beneficial to do this in order to be able to decipher if something's true or a lie, if something's a yes for you, for your life, for your body, for your business, and when something's a no for all of those things. And then on top of that, it's for us to be able to choose to create a different future through our choices. There are many people that are at the whim of what people are saying and doing instead of what's actually going to work for them now and in the future. And a lot of that comes from the lies that we've been told about awareness and about perception. We've been told so many things that are erroneous that makes it really confusing to get these clear yeses and nos. First off, we haven't even been told that this is something that's possible. How many of you actually had schools and education and parents that told you to listen to your body and get a clear yes and no from your body? I think more and more people are listening to their bodies, which I'm so happy about. And there's a lot of people that still don't have this key piece of yes and no with their bodies, even as they're listening to their bodies more. And I find this to be this very simple yet super powerful tool that can help us all create a different future for ourselves. And if more and more of us are connected with our bodies and willing to perceive what's a lie and what's true, then we're going to have more of what's true available to us, and we can choose accordingly. We can have that more available to the world. Now, many of you might have been told there's no way that you can know. You can't know the future. You can't know what's true and what's a lie. There's many of us that says that bodies are just meat. They're just in the way. They're just here to impel our agendas upon them. And it's actually about our brains and our minds. Well, what if it wasn't one or the other? Our brains and our intellect are valuable as well. And yet there's a lot of times when it just limits us to only considering what has been chosen and considered before. And so if we want to be innovators, if we want to be the people that create something different, and I think a lot of you that are listening to my voice right now and that are watching this are those that are looking for something different, the seekers of the world. And if you are, then you know that only using what has been chosen and considered so far isn't sufficient. It's not really working. And so we need to start creating something different. And by having this simple tool of yes and no with our bodies and with each other's bodies, it is super powerful and gets us on the way faster to that possibility. Now, the other thing that you might have been told is that actions speak louder than words. There's a lot of truth to that. Notice that. Say, okay, body, is that true for me? Actions speak louder than words. There's a lot of yes that I perceive there. And you know what's louder than actions? Awareness. Awareness is louder than actions. So yes, actions speak louder than words, and awareness speaks louder than actions. And so if we're willing to have the awareness of what's going on with our bodies, of what's going on with the bodies that we're interacting with now and in the future, man, that's going to be making things so much faster and easier for us. It's going to make it so that we actually get to be on the cutting edge of creating our lives, of creating our businesses, of having families that work and thrive and possibly inspire other families. I just watched this amazing episode on this show called like Instant Dream Homes, I think, on Netflix. And they were talking and gifting these instant homes that are exactly what these families needed within like a 12-hour window. They would plan months and months ahead. It wasn't like they just showed up and started the planning then. But by doing this and giving it to families that were already contributing to other families, it's so brilliant because they were able to give these tools to one family knowing that it was going to have this rippling out effect. And that is my mission and vision, is to have more families and more individuals have these tools so that we can have more people have this. Every member of the family, everybody else that they interact with, they could then invite them to this possibility because they will have that with themselves. If you would like some of that, reach out to me. Reach out to me, get a family and child coaching consultation, get an individual coaching consultation with me. And all you have to do is go to calendly.com/empowering-light-language/45MIN, as in minute, MIN. And let's talk, because I get that if more of us had this, more of us would not actually be buying so many lies. So awareness speaks louder than actions, okay? Awareness speaks louder than actions. Now, if you are someone, or if you know someone who, when they're having certain conversations, being emotional conversations, planning related conversations, conversations about what they truly desire or something that they're upset about, and they are reactive, they're getting triggered, maybe they're traveling to a moment in the past, this is going to be really key in those moments of turmoil, of tumultuous emotions coming up. Because if you take a breath in those moments as you and say, okay, what's my yes? What's my no? What's my yes with this person? What's my no with this person? If you just take that one moment to breathe and ask those two questions, takes less than 15 seconds, you'll actually be able to know, okay, is it time for me to say something? Yes or no? Is it time for me to speak? Yes or no? Versus, I guess I have to speak, or I guess I have to tell them this right now. Or is this even something that's true for me with this person? Maybe they're bringing this up and they're not really talking to you. And we've all been in those moments where someone's talking to us and they are not really talking to us now. They're talking to another friend that they had this conversation with before, or an ex of theirs, or their parents, and you're like, are you talking to me? Like, what's happening right now? And you can point this out, like, I don't actually get that this is about us. So what's here? Like, what's really going on? If you get a yes to even say that out loud. Again, just because you're aware of something doesn't mean you have to say or do anything about it. But you for yourself can be like, in your head, this isn't really about me. Okay. Versus, it's because they're saying this and doing this in my space at me, it must be something that I did. It must be something that I have to do something about. Is that actually true? Okay. Yeah. Oh, gosh. So the other thing that I've noticed is that, let's say you're a parent Or no, actually, even more interesting, we haven't talked about this. Let's say you're talking to your own parents and they're telling you all these different things about you, but then what you're doing, how you've been behaving, doesn't match what they're saying. Okay, so this is not just about other people's behavior. It can also be, let's say you know something about you and somebody else is telling you something that say, oh, you can't do this. You're not going to be able to do this, or you have to become this. You are going to do this. They're writing your whole life story for you. And you're like, wait, what? Like, does it like, oh, having this type of job is what's going to make you successful, or doing these types of activities is what's going to get you to be healthy, or man, this is the types of relationships that you're going to have given this and this about you. You know, all of us have had certain things being told to us from our parents, and how much of that is true and how much of that is not true for us, even if it might be true for them. And I'm not sure that it's actually all true for them either, but that's a whole other discussion. So you can ask, okay, is what they told me about money true for me? Yes or no? Is what they told me about business true for me? Yes or no? Is what they told me about health true for me? Yes or no? Is what they told me about relationships true for me? Yes or no? And go through these different areas of your life and see if what your parents told you is actually true for you, given who you are right now and what you would truly like to have as your life. And what you would truly like to have as your life may be different than what they've chosen and what they expect of you. And then that also plays into, if you have your own children, it may be that what you think is going to work for them isn't actually what they know is what's true for them. And their awareness of what they know is more important. I know parents don't want to hear this. My parents don't want to hear this. And yet they get the benefits of hearing this and knowing this for themselves. So there's a lot less conflict. There's a lot less power struggles within the family dynamic. They get to drop the rope and not have the tug of war so much and be really elegant with how they parent, because they recognize that there were certain things that their parents told them that wasn't true for them. And there's certain things that maybe they'll say to their kids that may not actually be true for their kids. But if they're willing to have the yes for themselves and the yes for the whole family, or if it's just one kid that you'd like to do this with at a time, for me with this child right now, what's our yes? For me with this child right now, what's our no? What's going to work? And it's amazing how, if you take a moment and do this, they almost perceive that you're actually taking their perspective into account and their behavior changes. So all of a sudden, let's say a child is yelling and tantruming, and you take a pause and you ask these questions in your head, because you don't have to ask them out loud. You can whisper it if you'd like. You could practice this out loud first, and then over time, it's going to get easier to just do it in your head. They'll be like, what are they doing? They're not giving me the same power dynamic, the same as they usually are. I'm not getting the same fight back and reactivity they usually are. Wait, they're changing the steps of this dance that we've been doing so far. And so it throws them off. It's a pattern interrupt. And then in that pattern interrupt, that's when you can ask a question. That's when you can use your awareness to actually choose something that's going to create a different future in that moment and for you both moving forward. It's really, really cool. And I do this with the kiddos I work with all the time. So the parents will be like, why don't they throw tantrums around you? If they do throw tantrums, it lasts seconds versus minutes and hours with me. It's because I'm doing this. I am expanding. I am breathing. I am checking in and seeing, well, what is actually going to work here? And say, is this going to work? Yes or no? Is me going and playing and going to another space with their yellow truck, is that what's going to work? Yes or no? Okay. And so over time, I've gotten so used to asking these questions and considering all these infinite possibilities of things that I could do, that then what happens is, instead of just doing yes or no, you're going to also have what is a yes and more details of what is a yes, an image, a sound, an idea of it pop into your head. And guess what? That is your body and that person's body or those people's bodies sending you those pictures as a communication to let you know, hey, this is what's going to work best for all of us right now. And for each of us, we've had those ideas show up and we've often discounted them thinking, oh, I'm just imagining it, or that's not going to work. That's too easy. That's too simple. Oftentimes it's the easiest and simplest of things that pop into your head that may be something that no one else has considered. That's exactly what's going to work and create more for everyone involved. So are you willing to do what's the simplest and easiest, what's the yes for everyone involved, even if it's something weird and different, something unexpected, but that in the long run, it's going to create so much more ease and space and lightness and yeses for everybody? This is what I would recommend for each of us to do so that we can use those moments of when there's behavior that doesn't match what we know to actually invite us to choose something different and to have more clarity versus more confusion. A lot of us get mired in the confusion in those moments instead of having more clarity. So it's time for our third break of the show. When we return, we will discuss how we can use these tools of yes and no with ourselves and other people's bodies so that we can actually improve our health and we can improve how we empower others moving forward. So you are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, myself, Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we will continue to discuss when their behavior doesn't match what you know. We will be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you. This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo. I'm Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is when their behavior doesn't match what you know. So before we went on break, we were discussing how we can use this information of yes and no with our bodies and with other people's bodies to actually have more clarity instead of more confusion. A lot of times we get stuck on, hey, this is confusing. This doesn't match. Wait, they're saying this, but they're doing this, or they're doing this, and that doesn't match what I get is who they are. So what's going on here? So here's the other thing with this. Many of us know something is possible, and what someone is choosing so far doesn't match what we know is possible. And it can get tricky. It can get very tricky because, for instance, in relationships, we may then date for potential instead of what's actually possible right now. And that's definitely not what I would recommend. It's a recipe for resentment. It's a recipe for bitterness, for frustration on both sides, because you are waiting and waiting and like, I know this is possible. Why aren't you choosing this yet? And the person's like, why are you bothering me? Why don't you accept me for who I am? Why are you trying to change me? And so it creates this stickiness, heaviness, resentment that doesn't have to be there if you just choose the people that are actually matching what you're looking for right now, or you choose to let go, waiting on someone to have the behavior that matches the possibility, and you let them do it on their own time. And you go on to living your life, creating your business, having your friendships and relationships that you want without having it dependent on any one person's actions. Okay. So how many of you are actually choosing people based on their potential and what you know is possible, and expecting them to happen on your timeline versus letting that person choose it on their timeline when they're ready and in the way that they would like to do it? When we do control, we actually are limiting other people and limiting ourselves. Okay, when we function from controlling other people, we are limiting them and ourselves. And that is something that is a lot of energy that we can reroute and use to other things. Okay, we can use that to actually have and build up our muscles with our yes and no's. We can use that to see what else is possible, what other activities, what other people, what other spaces we can go to and navigate that will bring us more joy, instead of getting so stuck on having to control someone else's behavior and trying to force it to match what you know. How about you know what you know, and you don't actually have to have anyone else's behavior match that except for your behavior? So a lot of us are focusing on the external instead of being like, well, am I actually functioning from integrity? Is my behavior matching what I know is possible, what I would really like to have, and what I have been saying that I really want? If not, then turn the mirror on back and start functioning from congruence and functioning from you actually having integrity with yourself, and see how much that invites other people to have integrity with their behavior. People are watching your behavior just as much as you're watching theirs. And so if you're willing to actually have integrity with you, where your actions and what you do match what you say, then how many more people will that invite you to have in your life? They'll come to you. You'll be a magnet for that also function in that way and have integrity, self-respect, and aren't perpetuating old patterns by talking a lot of talk but not having the actions match that. You are aware. Remember, awareness is more powerful than action. Yes, action is more powerful than words, but there is a hierarchy here. You're aware of something, go ahead and take the action that matches that awareness. You don't have to wait for anyone else. You don't have to wait for anyone else. The other thing this reminds me of a book that I've been reading lately that I actually made a point to bring up. It's so cool. Have you read this book? It's called Originals. I'm showing it for those of you that are catching this on the video formats and on TV. It's written by Adam Grant. It's called Originals, How Nonconformists Move the World. I've been reading it for a while now, not really being present with each chapter. It's wonderful. And I'm going to read the blurb on the back of cover of the book so you get an idea of it. It's one thing to have new ideas, but another to stand up for them. Adam Grant, the author of this book, one of his generation's most provocative thought leaders, explores how individuals can recognize good ideas and speak up without getting silenced. Parents can raise creative children, and leaders can build cultures that fight groupthink and promote innovation. Using remarkable studies and stories spanning business, politics, sports, and entertainment, Grant shows that original thinkers are surprisingly similar to the rest of us. They procrastinate. They grapple with doubt and fear. They have bad ideas. What sets them apart is that they choose to act anyway. This book offers groundbreaking insights on how we can all become more successful in championing our best ideas. So this is so on point with this theme today too, where we can actually, through our choices, be innovators and be originals. So are you willing to actually have your behavior create a different future for yourself and for the world through your actions? Let me know. Thank you, everyone, and catch us next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Choosing a Different Future show. Siris returns Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, keep choosing what will work for you and your body, your own unique way honoring what will work for you.